very much. Thank you for your time, and in this video we are going to discuss about one of the fundamental courses in ICT called computer networking. So we're going to discuss computer networking. First and foremost, you need to understand what it means by a network. So we're going to start by looking at what is a network. What is a network? Okay, so this is the first thing that we're going to look at. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is to define a network. What is a network? So in simple terms, a network is defined as a group or system of interconnected people or things. A network can be defined as a group or system of interconnected people or things, just like that. So a network is a group, okay, is a group or system, okay, is a group or system of interconnected people or things, okay. So a group or system of interconnected people or things defines what we call a network. So that is just the definition of a network. Now let us now go back by defining computer networking. So what is computer networking? What is computer networking? Okay, so what is computer networking? So computer networking can be defined as it is a group or system of interconnected computers. A group or system of interconnected computers define what we call networking. Okay, so networking is defined as a group, okay, a group or system, okay, a group or system of interconnected computers. Okay, so computer networking is a group or system of interconnected computers. So when computers and devices are connected together, they create what we call networking. They form what we call networking. Very important. Okay? So later on, remember that networking enables businesses and consumers to share services. Networking enables businesses and consumers to share services, sell and communicate. So through networking, businesses and consumers are able to communicate. So it is very much important. So we're saying that networking enables businesses. Okay, networking enables businesses and consumers. Okay, and consumers to share services, okay, or to share services, sell and communicate, sell and communicate. Okay, so computer networking enables businesses and consumers to share their services and communicate. This is one of the important parts of networking. Now, let us also proceed by looking at what we call standard protocols. So every network must have what we call standard protocols. So these standard protocols, they guide on how information, on how data should be transferred from one network to another. So it is very much important that every network follow what we call standard protocols. Okay, so every networking should follow what we call standard protocols. Okay, so standard protocols. So they are what we call standard protocols in networking. Standard protocol. Okay. So the standard protocols, remember, these are rules that governs networking. So the rules that governs networking are what we call standard protocols. So some of the standard protocols are HTTP, okay, HTTP, TCP/IP, UDP/IP. So these three are standard protocols. So these three standard protocols, they guide on how data should be transferred within a network. So these rules that are followed within a network are called standard protocols. Very important. Okay, so let us also proceed by looking at another important fact in computer networking. Let us also proceed by looking at another important part in computer networking. Okay? So now remember that computer networking, whether it is guided or unguided media, they both need a physical infrastructure. So whether the networking is guided or unguided, they both rely on physical infrastructure. Very important. Every networking, whether it is wireless, whether it is wired cables, they rely on physical infrastructure. Okay, so apart from that, there are what we call media, networking media in networking. So networking media in networking. So first and foremost, you also need to understand about networking media. Now, before we can go any further, before any other special devices we came into practice, maybe we used to, let's just try to put up some examples of some networking. So example one, this is, okay, so this one is a computer. Okay, this is a computer, and then here we have a printer. Okay, here we have a printer. Okay, so this is a printer, and then this side we have got a server. This side we have got a server. All these are smart devices. So this is just a simple illustration of computer networking. So a computer will be connected. In fact, since a printer is a peripheral device, so a printer will be connected to the computer. So when a printer is connected to a computer, they form what we call networking. Okay, so this is just a simple illustration. Again, when a computer is connected to the database, or the server, it forms what we call computer networking. So this is just a simple illustration about computer networking. Now, let us also bring another broad example of computer networking. Remember, the world has gone digital because of civilization and globalization. We have seen the coming of many other smart devices. Okay, so these other devices can also be connected to a network. These other devices can also be connected to a network. So let's say, for instance, we have, this is example 2 of networking. We have, so we have a switch. So this is a switch, okay? This is a switch. So we have a switch. So this is a switch. And then on top of the switch, we have got a router. Okay, so this is a router. Okay, so we've got a router on top of that. So a router enables you to connect to an internet. Okay, so a router enables you to connect to an internet. So a router, in short, the other name for a router is a gateway. Okay, so the gateway enables you to connect to the internet because the router is able to change the internet protocol. So as you connect to the internet, when it reaches the router is able to change the IP. But when we talk of the switch, you can connect to the internet within an area, within just that area. So the switch will connect one computer to another. The computers will be able to connect within a circle. Okay, let's say, for instance, we have computer 1, we have computer 2, we have computer 3, we have computer 4. So all these 4 computers can be connected to a switch. All those 4 computers can be connected to the switch. Now, if these computers want to connect outside, meaning the internet, if they want to connect to the internet, they have to engage the router. They have to engage a router or a gateway. Okay? So, meaning within these 4 computers, the IP address is the same. So, this IP address is the same, this IP address is the same, this IP address is the same. But the moment The moment you want to connect to the internet, it has to reach what we call, it has to pass through the router. So the moment it reaches the router, what's going to happen is that this IP address, the internet protocol, is going to be converted, meaning your computer, if it is computer 1, will be assigned another IP address. That's how it works. So let us go back to this demonstration of networking, apart from what we have been talking about. So yes, so this is a switch, and then the switch is connected to the router, and then we have the access point. We have the access point here. We have the access point where you are able to access your internet connection, the access point, and then down here we have a smartphone. Okay, we have a smartphone. The smartphone, remember, a smartphone can be connected to a network and also to the internet. And then thereafter we have we can say we have cameras. Okay, so the cameras can also be connected to a network. So these smart cameras can be connected to a network. Okay, surveillance cameras, those surveillance cameras that you're able to find in sensitive areas like banks and many other organizations and companies, even in homes. Okay, so the surveillance cameras also are smart devices that can be connected to a network. Okay, so we have the smart cameras. So we have cameras. Okay, so the cameras. Okay, smart cameras that can be connected, CCTV cameras, and then we have smartphones. Okay, we have smartphones that can also be connected to a network, and then we also have smart lights. Okay, so there are also smart lights that can be connected to a network. So we also have smart lights. So the smart lights. Okay, so we have smart lights that can also be connected to a network. So we have smart lights. Okay, so smart lights that can also be connected to the network, and then this is access point. This is the access point. Okay. Now, when you look at this diagram, this diagram is more, it's more advanced as compared to the first diagram. Because when you look at the first diagram, it was only involving the computer connected to a printer, or a printer connected to a computer, and then also a computer connected to a server or a database. But when you look at this second diagram, we are looking at other devices that can be connected to a network. For example, a switch can connect numbers of computers within an area, and then if those computers want to be connected to the internet, they need to be connected through the router, which is a gateway. Okay, remember, as it connects through a gateway, it changes the IP address, which is the internet protocol. So in this aspect, we have the access point where you are able to access your internet. That is the access point. So maybe if it is in universities, you will find that there are certain areas, if you go there, you'll be able to connect to a Wi-Fi, you'll be able to connect to an internet. But remember, in every networking, whether wireless or wired, there should be a physical infrastructure. There should be a physical infrastructure. Very important. Okay, so apart from looking at these two diagrams, let us also proceed by looking at what we call networking devices. Let us also proceed by looking at networking media or transmission media. Very important. Okay? Let us also proceed by looking at networking media. We look at networking media or transmission media. Okay? It is also very important. Okay? We proceed by looking at transmission media or networking media. Okay, so now when we talk about transmission media, okay, so let's look at networking media. So we're looking at networking media. Okay, networking media. Okay, so before we can write anything, so when we talk of transmission media or networking media, another name for networking media is transmission media. Another name for networking media is transmission media. So transmission media can be defined as these are physical paths that enables data to be transferred from one network device to another. So networking media or transmission media, these are physical paths that enables data to be transferred from one network device to another. Okay, so we are saying that networking media, these are physical paths. So these are physical pathway. Okay, so these are physical pathway that enables data. Okay, so that enables data to be transferred from one network device. Okay, so from one network device to another. Okay, to another. Okay, so we're saying that networking media or transmission media, these are physical pathway that enables data to be transferred from one network device to another. Okay. Now, this networking media can be categorized. Okay, so these networking media can be categorized. Because of that, they have different characteristics and advantages. This networking media can be categorized. Because of that, they have different characteristics and advantages. So when we talk of networking media, they are subdivided into two categories. The networking media or transmission media are subdivided into two categories. So these two categories are guided media and unguided media. These two categories of networking media are guided media or unguided media. Okay. So we're talking about guided media and unguided media. Okay. So the networking media or transmission media can be categorized into two. There's what we call guided media and unguided media. Now, when you talk of guided media, another name for guided media is wired cable. Wired cables, all wired cables are examples of guided media. This means that they are able to transmit data by using of cable in a physical way. So they transmit data by using wires in a physical way. Okay? So this is the reason why we're saying that another name for guided media is wired cables. So wired cables, they can only transmit data through cables or by the using of wires physically. Okay? So apart from that, since we are still talking about guided media, we are talking about guided media. Now, guided media, some common examples of guided media are twisted cables. Twisted pair cables are guided media. So, twisted pair cables can be used, they are commonly used for internet connection. Twisted cables, which is one of the examples of guided media, can be used, or it is commonly used for network internet or internet connection. So internet connection, these are cables that we can physically insert on a computer. The moment you insert those cables, which we call internet cables, the moment you insert it on the computer will be able to connect to an internet. Okay, so twisted cables are commonly used for internet network. They are cost effective, that is the good part of it. They are cost effective and they can be used to connect on the short range. Okay, they can be used to connect on the short range. Okay, so another common example of guided media is coaxial cable. Okay, now when we talk of coaxial cable, it can only transmit data from a range. Okay, it can only transmit data from a range. And then there's also another one which we call fiber optic cable. So the fiber optic optic cable, these are supersonic. They are very faster in terms of the way they carry the data, in terms of how they transmit data. They are very fast. So we have talked about the common examples of guided media. We have talked about the twisted cable. We have talked about the cozy cable. We have also talked about the fiber optic cables. Okay, so we've talked about the twisted cables. Okay, twisted cables, twisted pair. Okay, twisted pairs, cables. Okay, and then we have also talked about the coaxial cable, and then we have talked about the fiber. We have talked about the fiber optic cables. Okay, so these are common examples of guided media. Now let's also proceed by looking at unguided. So what is unguided media? Another name for unguided media is wireless media. Another name for unguided media is wireless media. Now, when we talk of wireless media, these transmit data through the air or space. Okay? So unguided media, they transmit data through the air or space without the use of physical cables. So they don't use physical cables to transmit data. Their data is transferred through the air or space without the use of what? Physical cables. Now, some common examples of unguided media are the radio wave. Okay? The radio wave. The radio wave is an example of unguided media. They transmit data through the air or space without using of physical cables. So radio wave is an example of unguided media. And for example, the way cellular phone operates, the way a cellular phone operates, the way you are able to make calls and connection, whatever you do using your phone, making calls and what, it is done as a result of a radio wave, which is unguided. Because you can call someone without injecting the cable to your phone as you want to talk to someone. No, you can call them through the air or space. So the connection through a cellular phone is done as a result of the radio wave. Also, if you want to connect your phone or any other device to a Wi-Fi, your connection is done through the air or space. You don't use a physical cable. So this is also part of radio wave. So the connection is done through what we call radio wave. So another common example of unguided media is a microwave. Now when we talk of a microwave is able to transmit data at a faster rate. It is able to transmit data at a faster rate. Very important. Okay, so from one point to another, it is able to transmit data from one point to another at a faster rate. And then another example of unguided media or wireless media is the infrared. Okay, so when we talk of the infrared is also able to connect data within the short range, especially by using of remote control devices, by use of remote control devices. So remote control devices is you can control all those connections and what when you're using a remote and then you're trying to change things. So that connection that is happening there when you're using a remote, you play something on TV and it's able to, you can fast forward, you can rewind and all those things without injecting a cable on your remote. All those connections are done as a result of infrared. So the infrared is part of unguided media. Very important. Okay? Very important in networking. Okay? So we're talking of unguided. So we're talking about unguided media. Okay, so unguided media, so there, and then we have under unguided, we have got the radio wave. Okay, so radio wave. Okay, radio wave, and then for example, the cellular phone and the Wi-Fi, also Bluetooth connection or spotting can also fall under radio wave. And then we also have the microwave. Okay, we also have the microwave, and then we have infrared. Okay, so we have infrared. So all these are examples of unguided media. Very important. Okay, so I hope you are clear on the explanation of networking. And then, so we started by looking at, by defining a network. We also proceeded by looking at the network, computer networking, and then we have also talked about the networking devices and networking media and so on and so forth. Okay, so thank you for your time. Thank you, enjoy, and make sure that you also watch the next video. Thank you guys, thank you.